Hey book besties, I think my numbers are off. So I have started a notes app where I was trying to keep track of how many books I have, how many books I've read, how many books I'm gaining, and see if I am outpacing my TBR. We have almost officially enough opened all of our December boxes. At this current time when I'm filming, I am still waiting on the Fairy Loot 3-book box and the I'll create items box. They still haven't shown up in the mail, so fingers crossed sometime soon. You may have already seen the other unboxing. I'm not sure if this is going to go up first or if that one is already up. But I figured what other way to figure out how many physical, ebook, and audiobooks I still have than to just do a little library tour. So you can kind of see what I'm reading. If there are any that you see that you want me to read a little bit earlier, let me know. This top shelf that you can't really see is red. This shelf is red. And then that half of the shelf is what I have read and still have. And then from here down, plus some upstairs, which we'll get to, those are still waiting. So in order to get through all this, because there are a lot, grab yourself a drink, grab a snack. We are just going to go through title and author, because I think that's what we've got time for. So buckle up. You know, I'm just going to tell you this first section because it is all a series. So I have marked, betrayed, chosen, hunted, burned, awakened, destined, and hidden, which is the marked series by PC Cast and Kristen Cast. I'm missing a couple, but I wanted to have them. We are going to start out very exciting because these are ones that are left over from college that I read parts of, but not all of. / were given in college and don't really fit my vibes. But we're going to see. We have the Portable Enlightenment Reader, edited by Isaac Kramick, left over from college. The Beauty of the Beastly, by Natalie Anger. As Text and Interpretation, by Inga Clendenden, another leftover from college. The Last of the Mohicans, by James Fenimore Cooper. Given to me whenever I was in high school. The Enchanted by Renee Denfeld. Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Rick Riordan. The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. The Liar by Nora Roberts. Islands of History by Marshall Salins, leftover from college. Gray by E.L. James. Paper Towns by John Green. Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris. The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer, also leftover from college. Complications, A Surgeon's Note on an Imperfect Science by Atul Gawande. The Worst Hard Time by Timothy Egan. Next by Michael Crichton. Prey by Michael Crichton. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Voidwalker by S.A. McLean. Aldous by Christopher Paolini. Here on Earth by Alice Hoffman. The Plague by Albert Camus. Wild Side by Elsie Silver. Wild Love by Elsie Silver. The Selection by Kiera Cass. This Woven Kingdom by Tierra Mafi. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. I actually have a couple of books by you. The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. You Are a Badass. How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sincero. When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. State of Fear by Michael Crichton. Very old copy of East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Crimson Portrait by Jody Shields. Naomi Wants to Know, Letters from a Little Girl to the Big, Big World. This is actually a gift. This is from Ruth Bader Ginsburg's library, and I love that. The Scroll of Seduction by Gioconda Belli. The Prince, also leftover from college. The Lay of Marie de France. I'm probably saying that completely wrong. Also leftover from college. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. No Dust Cover, but Allegiant by Roth. I think I read most of this back when I read the Divergent series. I'm not sure I ever finished it. The Outline of Mythology by Bullfinch. This will be a multi-part completion. Dante's Inferno, leftover from college. Clearly had portions that I did not read. James Patterson, Princess. Nora Roberts, Come Sundown. I don't think I've ever read a single Nora Roberts book. Honeymoon, James Patterson. Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. That Summer by Jennifer Weiner. When I'm Dead by Hannah Morrissey. The Kingdom of Sweets by Erica Johansson. Rebel Angels by Libby Bray. Wicked, Back When Sprayed Edges Were Really Rare. The Witcher, The Last Wish. Poems of Love a book I got from Barnes & Noble for free. Wherever You Go, There You Are, Mindfulness, Meditation, and Everyday Life by John Kabat-Zinn. The Tao of Emerson. Confessions of a Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella. I'm sad that I didn't read this before recent events. The Mechanical by Ian Tregillis. Graceling by Kristen Kishore. Wild by Cheryl Strayed. The Virgin's Lover by Philippa Gregory. The Moon and More by Sarah Dessen. Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wine. The Games by James Patterson. No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. What the River Knows by Isabel Banez. The Darkness Within Us by Tricia Levenseller. Pretties by Scott Westerfield. Christopher's Diary, Echoes of Dollanganger by V.C. Andrews. The Red Queen's Daughter by Jacqueline Kolosov. The House of God by Samuel Shem. The Man No One Believed by Joshua Sharp. Hera by Jennifer Saint. The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. Pretty Little Wife by Darby Kane. Someday, Someday Maybe by Lauren Graham. Unfortunately Yours. Secretly Yours. Chase Me and Too Wild to Tame by Tessa Bailey. Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. Happy and You Know It by Laura Hankin. I'm so sorry if I'm saying any authors' names incorrectly. I get my own name said wrong all the time, and it's like an irk of my own, so I'm so sorry. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. Again, I can't say words. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevin. This Princess Kills Monsters by Rye Herman. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Sisters in Arms by Kai Alderson. A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft. The London Seance Society by Sarah Penner. Again and Again by Jonathan Evison. What Storm, What Thunder by Miriam J.A. Chansey. The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. And The Crimson Moth by Kristen Sigarelli. The Wilder Women by Ruth Emmy Lang. Liberty by Caitlin Greenidge. Atomic Love by Jenny Fields. Cast by Isabel Wilkerson. Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. The Intern by Michelle Campbell. The Girl in the Mirror by Rose Carlisle. You're Invited by Amanda Jayatisi. When We Were Bright and Beautiful by Jillian Medoff. Never the Roses by Jennifer K. Lambert. 3 Cups of Tea by Greg Mortensen and David Oliver Wellen. The Assassin's Blade by SJM. Anatomy of Love Story by Sana Schwartz. Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Earnshaw. Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher. The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. You Are the Only One Here Who Doesn't Look Like a Doctor. Portrait of a Woman Surgeon by Marie Claude Wren. Imposter Syndrome by Kathy Wang. The Shadows by Alex North. Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. The House of the Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne. The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Frontiersman, given to me by a very lovely patient in residency. El Paso, A Guide Through Time by Leon Metz. Also given to me by a very lovely patient in residency. The Complete Works of Edgar Allan Poe. Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. The entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. 101 Famous Poems. James Patterson, Count to 10. You Get So Alone at Times That It Just Makes Sense by Charles Bukowski. Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. The Gods of Guilt by Michael Connelly. Bag of Bones by Stephen King. I've never read a Stephen King novel. The Temptation of Magic by Megan Scott. Ink Blood Sister Scribe by Emma Torse. Babel by R.F. Kwong. Bonesmith by Nikki Powell-Preto. Misrule by Heather Walter. 2312 by Kim Stanley Robinson. A Portrait of a Killer by Patricia Cornwell. Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. The Keeper of Lost Things by Ruth Hogan. The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. Game of Thrones and Clash of Kings by George R. R. Martin. I'm afraid to start this if it's not going to be finished. The Queen's Fool by Philippa Gregory. Women in White Coats, How the First Women Doctors Changed the World of Medicine by Olivia Campbell. Atul Gawande Being Mortal. When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Mark Twain. All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and C.L. Herman. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I want to do a tandem read. I want to obtain the Red Queen series, and I want to tandem read to see just how much. Killer Cure, An Illustrated History of Medicine by Steve Parker. Kitchen Table Wisdom, Stories That Heal by Rachel Naomi Remen. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And now we go to the next shelf. We're in a little bit better place to view. Some of these ones you've already seen because they were recently obtained. This shelf is chaotic. We're going to make it better. But we have The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. The Au Pair Affair by Tessa Bailey. How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. We have Threads That Bind and Hearts That Cut. We have The Phantom of the Opera. Crown Tide. The Everlasting. I'm going to kind of just point through these because these were in the unboxing. The Everlasting. R.F. Kuang Catabasis. Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. Alchemized by Senlin Yu. Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, Daddy Issues by Kate Goldbeck, The Bookshop Below by Georgia Summers, Violet Thistleway Is Not a Villain Anymore by Emily Kremp Holtz, The House of Fear, Marissa Meyer, this was a couple months ago in the boxes, A Rather Vengeful Accord by Daniel Knight, Bell Hooks All About Love, Bride and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Then we have Frankenstein, Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon, The Mating Game, and The Heir Apparent. We have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Then I have Six Crimson Cranes and the Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim. Babylonia by Costanza Casati. Me Messing Up, and that's another copy of Threads That Bind. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. Immortal Longing by Chloe Gong. If I Have to Be Haunted by Miranda Sun. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Sing Me to Sleep by Gabby Burton. Dragon Fruit by Micaiah Lucier. Five Broken Blades by Mai Corland, Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, Her Little Flowers by Shannon Morgan, A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen, Happy Place by Emily Hendry, The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, Someone Else's Shoes by Jojo Moyes, Thorn Season by Kiera Azar. I have Ruthless Fae, The Reckoning, and The Awakening as Told by the Boys as part of the Zodiac Academy that I have not read yet, Women Doctors in War by Judith Bellafair and Mercedes Herrera Graff, Downpour by Maggie Gates, Seeing Other People by Emily Wiberly and Austin Sigmund Broca, The Honey Witch by Sydney Shields, A Curious Kind of Magic by Mara Rutherford, Hunting Adeline by H.G. Carlton, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, The Isle in the Silver Sea by Tasha Suri, You Were Never Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White, Red City by Mary Lou. Other ones that were in my Christmas haul is I have Brimstone by Callie Hart, Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross, Small Angels by Lauren Owen, The Book of Witching by C.J. Cook, The Wedding People by Allison Esbach, The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovolino, Son of the Morning by, I'm going to say this name wrong, I'm so sorry, but Amazi. I'm really bad at names. The Deathless One by Emma Hamm, Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma, The Perishing by Natasha Dion, The Forest Grimm by Catherine Purdy, Gilded by Marissa Meyer, The Scarlet Alchemist by Kylie Lee Baker, A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal, When I Picture You by Sasha Lawrence. I have These Twisted Bonds and also These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan, That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming, The Build a Boyfriend Project by Mason Deaver, The Bodyguard Affair by Amy Lee, The Marriage Narrative by Claire Can, Wyatt by Jessica Peterson, Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, The Happy Ever After Playlist by Abby Jimenez, American Queen by Sierra Simone, These Hollow Vows, A Court of Mist and Fury, Reese's Point of View by Illyrian Tremors, The Art Thief, a True Story of Love, Crime, and Dangerous Obsession by Michael Finkel, Meet Me in a Mile by Elizabeth Hribb, The House Witch, Book 2 and 3 by Delham Hatch, Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry, Runaway Girl by Tessa Bailey, Red Rising by Pierce Brown, Caraval by Stephanie Garber, A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, Twisted Games, Book 2 by Anna Wong, Problematic Summer by Ali Hazelwood, Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood, The Six of Crows Duology by Leah Bardugo, Crown of Fire, Chandril Saga Book 2 by Ed Greenwood, Shadowdale Book 1 by Scott Cianson, Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, Darkwalker on Moonshade by Douglas Niles, The Rage by Richard Lee Byers, Spellfire, which is Chandril Saga Book 1 by Ed Greenwood, The Shadow and Bone Legacy, which I have read Shadow and Bone. I need to read Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising. The Eye of the World, Book 1 in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. The Great Hunt, Book 2 in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. Wayward by Amelia Hart. From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. Legendborn and Oathbound by Tracy Dion. I need to get the second one, and I need to read all of them. When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. The Road of Bones, Book 1 by Demi Winters. Ninth House and Hellbent by Lee Bardugo. And Taurus Season by Bryn Weaver. So I still have The Poppy War by R.F. Kwong. Library at Hellbore by Cassandra, But Inside I'm Screaming by Elizabeth Flock. Seven Deadly Thorns by Amber Hamilton, Dawn of the Firebird by Sarah McGall-Rana, Cold Wire by Chloe Gong, We Who Will Die by Astasia Stark. And then one final for the physical, we have A Fate So Cold by Amanda Foodie and C.L. Herman. And then we have our ebooks. I have Falling at the Bar by Elise Kennedy, The Bridge Back to You by Reese M. Nielsen, Picnic Energy by Kristen Bailey, The Phone Swap, The Crowned Mystic by Lauren Cutney, The Redo List by Denise Williams, For Our Next Song by Jessica James, Until Sunrise and After Daybreak by Cordelia Kent, Veiled Justice by Heather G. Harris, The Shippers by Catherine Center, so excited, Holiday Love by Melissa Diamond, Untold Pleasure by Cordelia Kent, Happy Christmas by Kelsey Humphreys, Draken Serpent Prince, I think, The Midnight Sovereign, The Curse Between Us, Of Prophecies and Pomegranates, To Cage a Wild Bird ebook, Any Girl But You, Rebirth of Order, Cooking Up a Christmas Storm, Mourner for Hire, Murder and Matrimony, To Take a Soul, To Defy an Oath, 3 Pucks and a Baby, Meet Me in the Orchard, Hot to Go, Game Point, Remain by Nicholas Sparks and M. Night Shyamalan, A Love That Bleeds, Summer in the Snowfall, Accidentally Wedded to a Werewolf, The Sisters Who Were Promised, Death's Kiss, Divine Arrows, The Enchanted Isles, and Well Actually. Now we are going to go through all of my audiobooks. So, what I still have on Audible: Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, Herbie by Rich Cohen, Beyond Strange Lands by David Peterson and Simone Taylor, The Henna Artist by Alka Joshi, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, Unlock Yourself by Gary John Bishop, Take Control of Your Life by Mel Robbins, Why Not Me by Mindy Kaling, Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell, Camp Red Moon by R.L. Stein, Yes Please by Amy Poehler, Even Tree Nymphs Get the Blues by Molly Harper, The Dead Drink First by Dale Maharaj, The Dispatcher by John Scalzi, Elizabeth II, Life of a Monarch by Ruth Cohen, My Own Words by Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Becoming by Michelle Obama, A Mind of Her Own by Paula McLean, Killer by Nature by Jan Smith, Alien Out of the Shadows by Tim Levin and Dirk Maggs, The Man on the Mountaintop by Susan Trott, The Spies That Bind by Allie Carter, Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna, The Alice Network by Kate Quinn, Lies She Told by Kate Holohan, The Rose Code by Kate Quinn, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, I'd Tell You But Then I Have to Kill You by Allie Carter, Catching the Cowboy by Kennedy Fox, Kissing the Cowboy by Kennedy Fox, The House in the Pines by Anna Reyes, On the Rooftop by Margaret Wilkerson Sexton, The Halfling's Harvest by S.L. Rowland, Never Date Your Brother's Best Friend by Jules Bernard, 7 Reasons to Murder Your Dinner Guests by K.J. Whittle, and The Second Story Bookshop by Denise Hunter. Editing me will tally up each of the ones that I have and see if it matches my starting estimate of what I have in my phone, which is, I think I'm starting January. I know that I have 4 books pending that are coming from December boxes. I think I am starting with 265 physical books, 35 ebooks, and 35 audiobooks for a total of 335. We'll see how wrong I am. You might hear the bells of my dog. I hope to do this kind of every year. Ideally, we end less than what we started with. At some point, I want to get my TBR under 100. That is not going to happen this year. I do not read that much. My goal for this year is 100 books, and also to participate in my TBR rat race, where I am just trying to outpace the books that I am bringing in. December was a lot. We're starting fresh. We're starting new. I did get 3 books in Book of the Month that I will open at the end of the month. But here's hoping. So let me know in the comments, is there anything that I listed, anything that I showed that looked really interesting to you, anything that you want me to read sooner and include in future book reviews? It won't be out before this one because I'm trying to get a lot in the beginning of January as far as things that I'm filming, but I do have a detailed review of all of my December books. There's a couple categories that I'm trying to figure out how best to finish them out for a basis out of 10. So that will be coming if it's not up already. I don't think it'll be up already. This one's probably going to be one of the first ones up. As always, thank you for joining in. Thank you for being here. I love each and every one of you for supporting. If you want to subscribe, please hit that subscribe button. You can hit the bell icon if you want to get notified every single time that I post. Let's be here for a more productive 2026. And I think 2026 is our year. I'm manifesting good energy. Thank you. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye.